Hi everybody, it's Debbie here. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, thanks for joining me today. Really glad you can make it, and I hope you enjoy. And if you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, go do that now so that you don't forget. And if you are a returning viewer, welcome back. So glad you can be here, and I appreciate each and every one of you guys that comes and watches my videos. So today I'm working in my art journal, and I just decided to grab a pencil, and instead of doing an elaborate background and doing some kind of mixed media, I just decided I wanted to put a little quote on here. And so this doodle is I'm not an artist, like I said. I just put stuff down on paper. um so I had never have any idea actually what I'm doing or how I'm doing it. I just go ahead and do it. So I had this little quote in my mind, and I know that I don't even have the quote right, so I'm just kind of making that up. um but it's just something that was stuck in my head, and so I decided I'd get it down on paper. So this last flower, I decided that I was going to make it with wonky shaped leaves in these layers, and it doesn't really even resemble a flower. It's just more like a mandala. It's just an awkward looking little thing. So, but that kind of goes with the theme of the quote that I want to put on the page. So, or the sentiment. It's not really a quote because I know I haven't got it right, and I can't remember who said it anyway. But so it is basically a sentiment. So I'm drawing these on the paper, and I end up being happy with the way that it turns out. However, I didn't kind of do it the way I wanted to. So once I was done drawing these on the page, I decided I was going to color them in with watercolors. Well, if you watched my last art journal page, you know that the only thing that I know about art or using watercolors is how to just plop the color on the paper and let it run. So as you see, I just took my spray bottle and sprayed my page, my background, everything with some water. And I'm going to add even more water here, and I have no idea, because that's not what I want the paint to do this time. I want the paint to stay in the petals. So I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to pick up some purple paint here. And as soon as I touch it to my page, I know I've made a mistake. So watch this. Yeah, it's just going to run all over the place. So shake your head, Debbie, and get a wipe and start blotting that paper, that water back off the paper. Yeah, that it didn't make any sense for me to do that. What I should have done, now my page is pretty damp, but what I should have done was taken a wet brush and wet each flower petal inside the line, then added the paint so that it would have just gone over the petals. But you live and you learn, right? So the next time I go to do a watercolor, to color in a watercolor picture, that's what I'll do. I'll just try to keep my damping of the paper inside the lines and see where it goes from there, because I think that would have turned out so much better. But in the interim, I'm just basically using these like any acrylic paint. I've got my palette wet, and I'm just picking color up, and I'm going to color in these flowers. So you can watch me do that. Once I got the flowers in, then I knew I needed the white highlights. So yeah, I'm getting the white mixed up here, nice and I'm making a nice little puddle of paint so that I can use it more like an acrylic paint, because at that point, that's what I was doing here. So I'm just using the same fine tip little liner brush. It's basically a liner brush that I'm using. I am just adding details now to the flowers and the leaves, the petals, and yeah, blackening these centers a little bit first. I wanted those centers nice and black because I'm going to turn my paintbrush over and use the back side to make dots on them so that they really pop. So I had to dry everything at this point because I knew after the first part of the whole watercolor runs on wet background that I didn't want to ruin what I had done now. So I ended up drying it so that I could add these highlights without everything running all over the place. So I'm just filling in a little bit of green now that it's dry, right close to the purple petals and the blue petals on this flower, because I didn't go too close the first time through. Didn't want it to run. So back to highlighting. And this is using the back side of the paintbrush, just the back end. And just dotting, which is like you can dot with any kind of paint. So don't those centers look, I mean, they look three-dimensional. Now that I've got the white dots on the black background, the white or the black makes the white pop, and it just makes those little, I don't know what the centers of flowers are called, but it just makes those pop right off the page. So now I'm going to highlight in all my little details with the white on the paintbrush. And as I got to this point, and it was getting fairly hard to keep the paintbrush where I wanted it to in the thin lines, I thought, why don't I just go get a white paint pen now to do this? I've dried the background, so I can use a white paint pen on here to make my details. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just hunting for my white pen. And I'm going to use this acrylic paint pen that I got. My husband got me these for Christmas, and there were 3 whites and 3 blacks in there. And oh my gosh, I'm telling you, they just make outlining. And I've never used a lot of paint pens. And yeah, these just make adding highlights and dark lights and you know, those outlines and things so much easier. Oh my gosh, this is so much easier than using a paintbrush. So happy with the way it's starting to look with all these little white lines on it. And yeah, it's making me happy. The flowers just look pretty. It doesn't matter how wonky and weird they are or how childlike you draw them. Once you add the extras onto the solid color, things just look so much prettier. So I was going to go around all these with these white circles, and I do. I just think that it looks so cute. Just like I've sketched them in white, and then yeah, it's pretty. I like it. You can't see it very much on camera, but the details that I'm adding here in the white, in person, they show up really nicely. So then I'm trying to figure out, do I need more? Do I need something else on here? What should I do next? I sometimes make things harder than they actually need to be. So I decide on grabbing the black paint pen, and that's the acrylic paint marker or acrylic paint. I'll put a link down in the description box to these paint pens because they are really, really nice. And like I said, in the box there was three. I'll have to ask him. I know he got them from Amazon, so I'll throw a link in there. But there was three black pens and three white pens in there, so you get a good little stash. So yeah, where the white wasn't going to show up outside of the petals, I decided to actually make some defining lines with the black paint pen. And this is what I was looking for. Just outline the whole thing. It's, I'm not going to outline every single petal, but I will try to outline the ones that I want to give them that bit of pop. So some of my little white dots there bled into each other. So I'm just going back with the black and making the dots look a little bit more defined as well. But see how that's just the finishing touch. When you're just doodling something and coloring it in like this, you may as well go that extra step and and make it great. Um, yeah, so I threw the date down in the right hand corner at the bottom there, and I decided I was going to start putting my sentiment on the page. So what I'm writing on here is every flower is an individual, beautiful, strong, and unique. Be a flower. So that's it. That's my art journal page this week. I hope you enjoyed it. And don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. And I'll see all you guys in the next video. Bye-bye for now, everybody. Take care. Love you guys.